your own home has always been an essential part of the American dream. Interestingly, our own government actually helped this happen in many ways. For example, the GI Bill of 1944 enhanced the lives of soldiers returning home from World War II by offering them very low-cost mortgages. The IRS actually created the biggest tax break most people ever get by allowing home mortgage interest to be tax-deductible. But then, the financial and real estate collapse of 2008 happened. New government legislation was enacted, making it much more difficult to borrow money, affecting many credible home buyers who historically would have been approved for a loan, but now aren't. But American creativity has never been stifled in a free market. An imaginative mind may wonder, why can't the seller finance their own house to the buyer? Do you even need a bank to buy a home? Actually, that can be a very good idea. In today's economy, seller financing can be a legitimate and practical business practice for both parties, the buyer and seller.
Well, if you think about it, there are a variety of reasons for both the buyer and the seller not to go through a third-party financial institution, but to actually use seller financing. For the buyer, they may not have the best bank credit. They may be self-employed, which makes it more difficult to get credit, or they may be looking at a property that's, doesn't quite fit the normal standards or is under $100,000 typically, which makes it more difficult for a bank to finance. It's not profitable for them. So this is something where a seller and a buyer can come together on. For a seller, they may have a variety of reasons, from not wanting to have a lump sum of cash all at once to they've already got an investment that's paying out. They can live on this income stream. We find that a lot for older folks who are retiring or want to downsize. Here's an income stream that they can take, and they can do seller financing with it. Just like good fences make good neighbors, good contracts make for a good transaction for both the buyer and the seller. It's about protecting each other from each other, but making sure everything's clear. Part of what RIAs do is connect people with attorneys who know how to do this, and with people who've had experience in providing these kind of contracts. And that means how they're recorded, the language that's in them, making sure they're all state compliant.
The National Real Estate Investors Association has 120 chapters around the country. Our main goal is to provide education, resources, and all the support that anyone needs to start their real estate investing career. So they can go on their own to different neighborhoods, buy property, renovate property, making a good investment for themselves and also helping the local community.
Typically, a seller will use a self-directed IRA in which they will invest their retirement funds into a property, and then that's what they'll actually seller finance. That is a transactional relationship between the buyer and seller that they both want to see succeed and come to full term.
Buying and selling a home is the largest financial investment most people make in their lives. Historically, banks and lending institutions are the highly regulated status quo of how we finance. As well they should be. But in life, time has a way of redesigning things. Conservatively and intelligently exploring alternatives to conventional wisdom can be financially very rewarding. In more and more cases, seller financing is very attractive to both the buyer and the seller.